What's going on, y'all? This your boy, Chris Simmons, coming to you with another very, very special podcast episode with returning guest all the way from the state of Washington. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for my girl, Jennifer Hizon. What's going on with you, girl? How you doing?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Good. How's it? How's your day been treating you so far?
It's been good. I woke up to some sunshine here in Washington. It's been we get a lot of rain and it can become really kind of a downer, you know. So when the sun comes out, you know, us Washingtonian people, we wake up to it. We're like, is that the light? Is that sun? We got to go outside, you know.
Hey, I'm dead. Hey, listen.
I got planned today to take my son to do some. He wants to go driving, and he keeps talking about his eyebrows. He keeps saying, "Mom, they're connecting. I need to go, you know, do that threading thing you do. I need to go get threaded." And I'm like, "You want to go get threaded?" He's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Okay, we'll get you a little touch up, get your eyebrows done, get a little clean up there." So he wants it cleaned up, right? Because I get it threaded. And I'm like, "It's gonna hurt a little bit." And he's like, "That's okay. I just, you know," so he's 14. So he's like, he's starting with, "Mom, I look like a noodle. I look weak. I want to start getting strong, you know, I want to start working out." So I built a gym downstairs. I was already gonna do it, but you know, like at first I thought it was just, you know, I was building the gym because I knew it was going to be my family would use it, but I was also because I'm actually in NASM right now to get my personal my PT certification, and I thought, okay, this will help me, you know, help me get, you know, be able to have a space to work, right? And then I realized that during the process of it, it wasn't just that it was, you know, it wasn't just a gym at that point. It was a place that I created that was going to start healthy habits for my kids. And that was like, you know, because I spent so much money. Like I honestly spent money I probably shouldn't have. Okay. But when I looked at it, I was like, man, this was the best investment of my life. I've probably blown thousands of dollars on various things in my life that makes no sense. Is you know, things that just sit in a corner, stuff that ends up in a garage sale. But this right here was an investment, not just for my health, but for my family's health, for my kids, which is number one, you know, past me helping other people, my kids. And so my son was like, I look weak. I need to work out, Mom. I don't want to look like that. I said, boy, you're still growing. You're still growing, but we can get you started. Your body's going to go through a lot of changes. So he's starting to kind of take notice of himself as he's going into be 15. And so I've been helping him with that and training him on building his endurance and his stamina and just getting stronger and feeling more confident with himself. So
Does your son play sports? Like, is he in football, basketball?
Not my son. He has what's called social anxiety. But I didn't know my son had it. See, I had it growing up. In fact, I had it really bad, and I wouldn't join any sports because I had this fear of being around new people and what if I look stupid, you know, and I used to always care about what they thought, you know. So it really kept me from, you know, achieving things I really wanted to do. And my son, he has social anxiety. So he also has anxiety. We just actually got him on an anxiety medicine that's a low-key medicine that kind of helps keep it so he can go to school and not feel like calling me saying that his heart's beating fast or whatever, right? So I did sign up for football at one point, and I remember we pulled up on his first day of practice, and I just see him sitting in the seat like this, and he looked like he's gonna cry, and I'm like, Junior, you know, are you okay? And he's like, no, I want to go home. And I'm like, this is what you were wanting. We went and got you the gear. We went and got you ready. Like, what's going on? And he just was like, he froze up. And I knew at that moment what was going on. I knew because he was me, right? I said, it's okay. He goes, Mom, I'm sorry. You know, I had you buy all this stuff. I said, no, I don't care. We're going home. It's okay. I don't care about the stuff. He's like, yeah, but you spent $100. I don't care. I said, we know what we know now. We're going to work on that. And that's okay. You don't have to go do this. You don't have to do you're not disappointing me. You know, if you're not ready to do it, you're not ready. Who cares? You know, like, it doesn't matter. And so that's when I found out he struggled in that area. And he never tried out for sports after that. And it's funny because I had him in sports at a young age. So he's talked about football, or he's talked about basketball. And we talked about going next year. And so what I'm doing right now is I'm building his confidence in the gym downstairs. I'm getting him ready to feel the confidence that he needs to be able to go and actually step out of his comfort zone and say, I'm gonna try out for this sport, right? And so that's kind of the goal, and that's what I'm working on with him right now. It's been helping him with his anxiety. It's been helping him sleep. He'd have nights where he'd wake me up crying, Mom, I can't sleep. Mom, I can't sleep. I keep waking up, Mom, he's crying. And I'd have to keep him home because he was tired. It was so sad. And I'm so thankful that I did what I did, because he sleeps better at night now. He feels more confident. He's lifting heavier. And it's a big deal. It's a big, big deal when you're dealing with a kid that, kids that aren't capable of joining grouped activity because of their fears, their anxieties, whatever they're going through inside. So building that confidence and getting started with healthy habits and things like that is a big deal for a person to be able to have that confidence in themselves in other areas of life. So yeah, I'm that's what I've been working on, is getting my gym in order. Been pretty cool. It's been pretty cool to watch my downstairs go from being a playroom to a gym.
That's awesome. I think, when I get my own, house, my own real estate, that's one investment I will definitely do to my house. Like, I will definitely, like, in the basement, if I have a basement area, or even like a big enough garage, that is something that I would do instead of, like, pay for gym memberships, which nothing wrong with that. Like, that's what I do right now. I just pay to go to a gym. But
right.
I know, like, the home gyms are nice. Like, if you get the right equipment, I'm telling you, bro, even though it's like a really huge investment, like you said, you spend like thousands of dollars, but in the long run, it's actually gonna be really good. You know what I'm saying? Because that way you're not putting money into a gym membership, paying monthly. Like, you'll already have it right there, so you can just work out whenever you want. And something like COVID were to ever happen again, you be able to still, continue to keep in good shape. You know what I'm saying? So it's great to have those home gyms, and it's great. I really do, like, applaud you for trying to get your family, in a healthy lifestyle and a healthy direction, which is really good. Now, this is actually interesting how we're talking about, trying to be healthy, trying to live a healthy lifestyle. I'm gonna give you props. I always like to give credit where credit is due. You happened to wake me up on certain foods that I was eating. And because you massaged that idea in my mind, because it started with, like, I think we had a conversation about a month ago.
Right.
And we were talking about what you eat and how you don't eat this, how you don't eat that. And you're like, I don't eat gluten. I don't eat a lot of dairy. Like, I'm like, bro, like, what? I'm like, what you eat? and then what really, I think what really got me curious was when we were talking about seasonings. So, how, people use, the traditional white salt. I remember you were like, yeah, I don't get that. I get the pink salt. I was like, really? I'm like, what's the difference? Right. And you're like, well, the pink salt, that's the real salt. And I never knew it because I was using a white salt that apparently, like, I did my research, is bleached.
Yeah, I call it the bleached manufactured salt.
Yeah. So that's something I didn't know. And then you were like, yeah, I don't get that. I don't get salt unless it's Himalayan pink salt. You're like, I don't use pepper unless it's organic. You're like, I don't buy nothing unless it's organic. And I'm like, I'm like, that's really interesting. And so that's when, I decided to kind of do my own research. And I actually, happened to watch a few documentaries. And I'm telling you, it really like woke me up to a lot of foods. And just crazy, like how some of these food, like most of these foods that you eat, that you buy at the store, you'll be shocked to see what they actually putting in these food for real. Like it's crazy.
Yeah.
Have you now before now I want to ask you this. Have you heard of a YouTuber called Bobby Parrish? Have you ever seen that guy on YouTube?
I might have, but I don't remember. I might have though. I'm not going to say that I haven't.
Okay. So when I started watching him, so he's a guy that goes to like different stores. He'll do like food reviews. He'll go to grocery stores and stuff like that. And I remember like coming across his page, and I remember like he would expose like products such as like cereal, such as meat, such as dairy products. And he would do his own research on the ingredients, and he would look and he would turn the item over, and he would point out ingredients that were not necessarily good for you, such as soybean oil, such as canola oil, sunflower oil, gluten, like MSG, like stuff like that. Like he was exposing foods. He was like, yeah, if you eating this, you may not want to eat that again. I was like, that's crazy. And it was stuff I was usually buying that I had in my fridge, stuff with those ingredients, like, monosodium dioxide, like some really complex ingredients. One thing I learned is that if you happen to turn over a food, like a bag of chips, and it has like 80 ingredients in it, that's probably not a good sign.
Yes. And actually, you're right about that. When I was going through my life and health coaching schooling last year, I went through it for like 12 months. And the one thing that we started learning in the very beginning was how to read the labels on the back of what we were buying, right? So the motto was, the more the ingredients, the worse it was for you. The less the ingredients, the better it was for you, right? And a lot of people don't know how to read the back of the labels. They don't know what they're looking for because they weren't educated to understand what it is they want and what it is that is in those prepackaged foods that are actually chemicals that are working against them, right? That's creating the diseases and the inflammation and the chronic pain and everything else that goes with underlying conditions that we don't see early on in life, but end up becoming a thing as we continue to age and the body breaks down. It's not able to fight those things anymore, right? So that's why, for me, when I started my health and fitness journey, it really started with just me wanting to lose weight and get stronger, right? I wanted to eat healthy, but I really didn't know what that meant. When people say, oh, you just need to eat healthy. Well, what does that mean? Just eat healthy. Well, for you, it might mean you need to eat these items because these foods, because this is your body type. But for me, it might mean that I need to eat these food groups over here because of my body type, because your body type is not the same as mine. Your genetics are not the same as my genetics, right? And what I started learning through my health journey is how important the gut, it's called the gut microbiome. Have you heard of that? The gut microbiome.
No, I've never heard of that.
It's like the home base for bacteria in your digestive tract. And it's what helps break down the food. And it breaks the food down into the nutrients that your body needs, right? So if your gut is not in order and it's off, and you have too much bad bacteria, what can end up happening is you can end up developing a lot of various diseases that you may not realize can happen to you later on, which you're already susceptible to certain diseases because of your making, right? So for instance, certain diseases that can end up happening in your gut is like Crohn's disease. It's ulcer colitis, IBS, irritable bowel syndrome. You know what irritable bowel syndrome is? In fact, my boys' grandmother, she has it. And she suffers so, I see this woman suffering constantly from IBS. IBS is very common for people to get. And a lot of it stems from your gut. It all stems from your gut, an unhealthy gut from eating foods that are literally working against you. And that's done over time. And you can develop diabetes type 1 and 2, kidney disease, and so many other diseases, heart disease. And you want to know where it all comes from? Studies have shown that it all comes from poor gut health, right? Because we spend most of our time in life, we only have certain options that we're aware of at the store. And we're so used to grabbing those and going out and eating that fast food and just quick processed food, because that's what we're accustomed to. But nobody taught us, and even in school, we're not taught how to eat and how to shop for ourselves, or even for that matter, cook for ourselves the right way. So we buy what we're taught to buy. Just get what's cheap. Get what's cheap. Just get what you can get that's quick, heat it up in the microwave. But none of us really ever looked at the ingredients that was on the back of what we were buying. And almost everything that's processed has chemicals in it. And what do the chemicals do? They create inflammation and disease, and they create the bad bacteria in your gut, which also then creates the diseases that can end up manifesting and developing in your body. And if you're already susceptible to diabetes type 1 or 2, if you're already susceptible to IBS, if you're already susceptible to certain diseases, you're only actually progressing it to go in that direction. But there's actually a way to stop that from happening and reverse the cycle. And there's a way to heal your gut. And so as I've been learning this, and I've been actually going through a program, because you already know I'm a Beachbody coach, and my whole journey started with Beachbody at home workouts, because that's all I could afford at the time, and that's all I had, right? I couldn't go to a gym. So Beachbody ended up becoming like a lifesaver for me, because they taught me so much. And so right now, I'm about 3 days. I have only 3 days left in the program, but it's called the 4-week gut protocol. Now, this is something that a lot of doctors, a lot of other nutritionists will mention is going through what you call a cleanse. Okay. And it's where you would take, it's recommended 4 weeks to cleanse your body and discover what your body's food sensitivities are. Do you know what your food sensitivities are?
Nah. See, that's why I think, like, for me, I don't think it would be a bad idea if I did it. Now, I know somebody recommended me do that, like, other than you, because I know you're the first one to tell me that. And then
Right.
I also had somebody else tell me, like, yo, you should go on a cleanse. I was like, that may not be a bad idea. But yeah. I know, like, I have food allergies,
right.
But I know, like, in terms of sensitivity from my body, like, I wouldn't be able to know that. But I'm trying to test it out. I'm really trying to test it out. Like,
so I can tell you exactly how to do it. It's very simple.
Yeah.
Complicated. So I've been doing it almost now, and It really was me weeding out beans, legumes, nuts.
Eat those
Uh,
anyway.
I don't know if you're a coffee drinker, but coffee actually, okay.
I don't
So a
drink
lot
that.
of Washington, we are coffee. We love our coffee. Okay. Our coffee, I mean, you'll see us, we walk around coffee all the time. The thing about coffee is it has a lot of chemical in it. So in the gut protocol, in the cleanse, I was only allowed like 8 ounces or less a day, right? So and it needed to be organic. So organic coffee that wasn't grown with a chemical, because coffee, if you just buy any coffee, they all have a chemical in it. So you're drinking a chemical.
Like the people who love Starbucks and Dunkin'.
Yeah,
Like,
it's not organic. If it doesn't say organic, 100%, the coffee is grown with bacteria. Now, where do you think that goes?
in your stomach.
That's right.
Yeah.
So I had to go and get myself organic coffee. Now, this stuff wasn't cheap, but I also wasn't drinking so much of it, so it didn't matter, right? So I had to, that was tough for me, for me to go down from what I was doing to just 8 ounces, and then having to switch my coffee was hard for me, but I was willing to do uncomfortable things in order for me to understand my body, right? So I weeded the coffee out, and I weeded gluten completely, took all gluten out. I don't eat any gluten at all. I was already not really drinking or eating dairy, so I went to no dairy at all, right? And I started eating more greens and incorporating not just one type of green or 2 type, even 5 type, but 20 different types of greens into your diet.
That grains or greens?
Greens.
Oh, greens. Okay.
So what you're doing is you're replacing and you still can eat meat. You're just going to eat smaller ounces of meat, and you're not going to want to eat the red meat. You can, but very small ounces, because the body was never designed to actually process red meat, which is why.
But what about like meat like that's grass fed? Like, how do you feel about that? Like, if it's organic grass fed meat, like, would you?
I mean, you can still eat red meat. It serves a purpose. It has iron in it. It's good for you in those purposes, but in small portions. Okay. Like you eating one big huge steak every other day it could end up working against you. A lot of bodybuilders will go to red meat because that's what helps pump up their muscle. But at the same time, it can also work against them because red meat also has components in it that can also work against the gut, right? So I don't eat red meat. So I weeded that out and I stuck with just salmon, greens, rice, which is still, it's still, and I stick with like sometimes I do a brown rice or a yellow rice, right? And sticking with the foods that aren't going to create irritability. And those are all in dairy, beans, and even some veggies. So for me, during my cleanse, I found out that oddly, cauliflower makes me, it kind of works against me.
That's nasty anyway. I have to agree. I don't like cauliflower at all. So I ain't mad at you.
Cauliflower, and you want to smack somebody. Okay. So cauliflower is actually, it's actually got a lot of good things in it. But for me, what's odd is that it actually gives me gas. Okay, let's talk about that. What gives you gas, right? People don't want to talk about, oh, I don't want to admit that makes me gassy. Well, okay, well, then you're not wanting to admit the foods that your body is telling you it can't have, right? So I was learning what foods my body was saying, hey, I don't like that. So what I'd do is I'd weed it out for the week, and then I would try to eat it the next week, and I would know immediately whether or not my body was able to eat that, because I would have these reactions that would indicate to me, okay, what did I eat yesterday that's causing this? Okay. I weeded that out for a week. I ate it, and then this is what happened. So you journaling down and taking note of the things that your body's reacting to in that manner helps you to understand what your body's food sensitivities are. I'll give you an example. I have a friend of mine on the gut protocol. She is a renowned red meat eater. I mean, this chick will go and we'll order a steak and she'll be like, I want it bloody.
Yeah, so she like your rare?
Like one of those, I would just be trying, I'm like, oh, man, like, why do you do this? Why do you gotta eat it like that? Ugh, you know?
At least get a medium or medium well.
I don't know. I never understood it. And I said, I don't know what you're doing, but you're going to learn one day that that's not probably the best thing you should be doing. And some people like to eat it that way. I don't get it, but okay, to each their own. So in the gut protocol, she couldn't eat that red meat. And she's like, man, I can't eat my steak. I can't eat my red meat. I said, no, but I can guarantee you're going to learn why. And so she ends up telling me, hey, so over the weekend, I had the biggest steak. I mean, I just had this big, juicy steak. And I ate, I ate sour cream and all this stuff, right? Because she was having a cheat day. So it was her cheat day away from the gut protocol. Well, I told her in the cleanse, you can't do that really because you're working against yourself. But you can if you're trying to test your body at small portions. So you don't end up throwing yourself into a situation where you're hunched over. And that's what happened. So she ate the steak and she said immediately, within hours of going home that night, she said she was hunched over her bed in severe stomach pains. So bad she ended up on the toilet, sweating. And I said, oh my God, are you serious? She said, Jennifer, I can't eat steak. Do you understand this? I said, oh, here's the truth. Now you're hearing your body. See, your body's talking to you now. It's telling you, hey, I don't like this. I don't like this at all. But the reason she wasn't having those reactions before is because she forced her body to get used to it. So it had to learn how to take in the food she was eating. And instead, she would end up just going to the bathroom a lot and having gas. But she would never be hunched over her bed, just, oh. And she said she couldn't sleep all night. She said she had the worst sleep ever. And she woke up and found a rash because she suffers from eczema. So let's talk about skin and how the gut affects the skin. She woke up and now she suffers from eczema. She's constantly taking medicine. She said during the gut cleanse, the rashes went away. They went away. And you want to know what happened that next morning after eating that steak? She broke out in eczema.
She was probably what? She was itching everywhere?
She has certain areas on her body it develops. So the red meat ended up being a part of why she gets eczema, is what she found out.
Wow.
Isn't that amazing? How the body reacted. So the body's defense mechanism is these reactions that we get. And we aren't ever taught how to understand when our body is saying, hey, I don't like that. Or, hey, don't eat that, because when you do that, this is what happens to me, right? So she was really grateful to go through this process because she's starting to learn. And she named off all these foods that her body just reacts to adversely, right? So like for me, I weeded out peanuts. Started eating peanut butter again. Broke out in a rash right here on the side of my neck. And I have eczema too. So what I'm telling you is that you'll never know your own body's food sensitivities until you actually put your body to the test. Because Again, your body type is different from my body type. You might be able to eat peanuts and not have a problem. While if I eat peanuts, I might have a problem. While you might be able to eat beans and not have a problem, I have an indefinite problem, right? So for someone to say to me, oh, you know what you need to do? You just need to go eat healthy. That's what you need to do. Well, what does that mean? Eat healthy. So when a person says, I want to lose weight, I want to feel good, I want to sleep better, it all starts in the gut. Did you know that your gut can talk to your brain? They all talk to each other, right? So it actually has control over your emotions. And what I'm talking about is, give me a second. It is linked to depression, anxiety, lack of sleep, insomnia, okay? Mood swings, heavy periods for women, okay? ADD and ADHD, which is now becoming an epidemic across the countries of them finding kids who have now ADD and ADHD. And they're linking it now. Studies are showing that it can come from this gut microbiome disbalance. Isn't that interesting?
What's also interesting
What?
is, along with those, disorders that you were just saying, the other thing is how it's interesting how now not only do we have a mental health like disorder within our kids and stuff like that, one of the major problems now is obesity.
Yes.
That's another thing that I was watching and researching, is how, like, they were doing a study like where back early on, like in the early 1940s, early 1930s, man, like everybody was looking good for real. And then all of a sudden, I think it was like in the 1950s, I think I was watching this in one of the documentaries I was watching, how when they decided, okay, we're going to make things fat-free, reduce fat, that's when that obesity started ramping up. And how, like, nowadays, like, you look at, like, your corner, you look at, like, when you go out, go out, all you see is fast food, like Wendy's, Burger King, McDonald's, Popeye chicken. You don't ever see, like, no healthy food places. It's all fast food because they don't want you to eat healthy. And then when you do want to eat healthy, it's expensive.
Yeah.
It's crazy, ain't it?
It's almost like you want to say, are they trying to kill us, right? And I don't think that it's that they're trying to kill us on purpose. I just think that they developed a way to make money off of us very quickly without putting any thought into the fact that they were creating a world of obesity. And what I've learned is that one of the two most top number one causes of disease and death is smoking and obesity. And obesity doesn't mean a person that looks big, right? You can actually, and I know this because before I started my own health journey, people would say to me, you don't need to lose weight, Jennifer. You're fine. You look great. You don't need to lose weight. Your body composition is fine. The way I don't see any, because we all look at it as a certain body type. Oh, that person's obese because they look obese. That is so wrong to do. It is so wrong because that person might actually be healthier than you, and you aren't as big as them.
You can come from the inside. That's another thing I learned. It can be from the inside.
anything over your body mass and your weight is over that is considered obesity. So I was considered obese. The doctors told me I needed to lose weight. But to everybody else who looked at me, they told me, no, that's not what we see. It doesn't matter what you see because you're judging from your eyes. It doesn't come from what you're looking at. It comes from what's happening inside here. And as we were talking about, the gut. So when that is all disbalanced and you're eating all of the chemical foods and the things that create all of these other issues, that equals obesity, right? But it doesn't just equal obesity. It equals all of these underlying diseases that can take place later on in life. And that I'm still learning and discovering and currently going through right now in my own journey with understanding my gut health so that I can teach others and I can teach my kids what this means and how you can start feeling better. So if a person says to me, I want to start feeling healthy again, I'm not going to tell you to just go work out. That's not all I'm going to tell you to do. It's not even the first thing I'm going to tell you to do. I'm going to ask you, do you know what your gut health is? And they're going to go, what do you mean? My gut health. You go ask a friend, do you know what your gut health is? They're going to look at you and go, what are you talking about? My gut health. My gut's fine. I just ate a burger. I went to the bathroom and took a large whatever. My gut's good. That's what they're going to say to you because they don't know what that. I would have said that to you. I'm like, my gut's fine. I just got done eating a big old steak. What are you talking about? Right? But then when I look at my boys' grandmother and I've seen her go in and out of the hospital, I've gotten calls from her, Jennifer, I can't eat anything. I can't eat anything in my stomach. And I was just talking to her the other night, and God was really showing me where all of her issues came from. And I've got her actually getting ready to purchase. She's going to buy some probiotics and prebiotics. And I want to talk about why those are very important. So do you take any kind of probiotic or prebiotic? Do you eat anything in that light that helps you?
Probiotic. I could be wrong. Does yogurt have that in it? Like certain types of yogurts? Don't they have like probiotics in them? Or some like have bacteria or something?
Yeah. So like probiotics can be found, you can find in like certain dairy products if you're able to eat dairy. But prebiotics actually help you be able to eat certain types of dairy without having adverse reactions because it goes in and it helps to even out the gut so that you can have some of those things without having issues if you're a person that's lactose intolerant, right? But a lot of times we don't always eat or buy those certain food types, or we don't have them on hand. So sometimes I like to say it's a lot easier to just have a supplement that you can take before each meal. So for instance, I take a probiotic and a prebiotic. So the positive effects of a probiotic is that it's going to help boost your immune system, boost your gastrointestinal health. So helping if you have IBS, it actually helps to reverse those effects. It helps with allergy issues, and it also assists with lactose intolerance. So that's just to name off a few of what this does for you.
Do you take it in the form of a pill, or like does it come with a drink? Like how do you take it?
So I take it in a pill because I'm in the gut protocol. I have.
You got the props.
So I take so this right here is a part of the supplements that I take. Okay. So this is my probiotic and my prebiotic, right? And I take this once a day, and I take this I take 2 before each meal, right around 15 minutes before each meal.
What's the brand? What's the brand? What's the brand for the people who may
So
be listening, like who may not be able to see it?
actually through Beachbody. Okay. So you have to be a Beachbody member in order to get, and actually they sold out of these the first day they launched. They literally sold so many that now they have to reproduce them because the gut health became something that every Beachbody member was going to be a part of. And I happened to get these at the last minute, right? So this is through Beachbody, but if you are not a Beachbody member, it doesn't mean that you can't get a probiotic and prebiotics. They sell them, but you want to make sure that you get the right kind. And I always advise people, you know, if you have certain underlying conditions or health issues or things that you're questioning, you need to speak to a doctor first. You need to get your annual, your checkup. You need to get a bill of health. And then you need to tell them, hey, this is what I'm looking at doing. What do you think about this? What do you think about me doing a cleanse? Am I capable of doing this? Is there any suggested probiotics or prebiotics that you think that I should have? So I always like to suggest for people to seek a doctor. For me, I did not seek a doctor, and that's to be real. And that's only because my bill of health is that of a 22-year-old. So I have the body type and health of a 22-year-old, and that's what my mind says. Okay, but so because I know that my body can handle taking these supplements, and I'm not going to, but for like people like that have certain issues, that have underlying issues, or they have health issues, I always like to say, or if you don't know what your health is, you haven't been to a doctor in 6 years, you haven't had an annual in years, that's the first step. You need to go get your annual, you need to get your bill of health, you need to get your test done, and stop ignoring your body and start putting that first. I get that done once a year. I get my mammograms, I get everything because I don't want to miss nothing, right? So yes, I do take those, but the alternative I have are these called ZenWise. These you can get on Amazon, and it's actually a probiotic and prebiotic all in one pill.
How much is it?
$28.
It's not bad for a bottle like that. How big the bottle?
It's got 47 reviews to a 5-star. The reviews that I read was that one of them really captivated me, which is why I bought it. She wrote a book on there, but she said she suffered from IBS and all these other conditions that had to do with her gut. And after taking ZenWise, she said it was like it saved her life. And now she does it. It's like a vitamin for her, right? And it's now part of my life. Like my supplements are now part of my life. I am now incorporating that in my health, my own health journey, because I'm going to stick with it because it's not working against me. It's helping me, right? It's helping me to have a healthy gut. And that is important. But even if you don't take these supplements, like certain prebiotics would be bananas, onions, garlic, leeks, asparagus, artichokes, soybeans, things like that actually have prebiotics in it. So you can eat a probiotic. You can go and eat kimchi, sauerkraut. And I do that. I do eat a certain amount of vegan kimchi, and I'll eat it with rice. But some people don't like eating fermented food. Some people don't like fermented food, and that's okay, which is why supplements are a good go-to choice. And that's why I always say, you know, there's no excuse for you not to either eat the probiotic or prebiotic or get a supplement that you can benefit from, right? So when you're looking to change and start new habits and creating a healthier, overall healthier life and being able to eat healthier, in order for you to know what that means, you would need to understand your own body composition. You would need to understand your own gut. Because if someone comes to me and says, oh man, I lost all this weight, I went on a keto diet. Okay. How do I know that's going to work for me? And is that sustainable? Is that sustainable for me? Am I going to be able to stick to it? Am I going to do it and lose a bunch of weight and then 6 months later get fatter? Because that happens. It needs to be sustainable and attainable and achievable. And it needs to be something you can do, and it needs to match your body's composition. And that's why I think it's so important to learn those things and to understand it well enough so that you can make good decisions when you go to the store.
It's very difficult, like, because, you know, I'll open up about, you know, some changes I made in my diet. Like, I decided, you know, to look for organically sourced foods, which is something I never did, because, you know, sometimes you go to the store, it's so tempting to get the cheap brands, because it's like, it's cheap, like it's 99 cents. Like, you want a bag of cheese and 99 cents. Like, sometimes
Right.
they're hard. And, you know, I decided to test it. I said, okay, let me see like what it would be like just to go all organic. I'm gonna tell you right now, it's amazing how when I decided to do that, my grocery bill went up $30. I'm like, bruh, this is how much it costs for me to eat well. It's crazy.
Yes.
Like, just like the fact that, okay, so like I said, like I told you, I've been watching my boy Bobby Parrish, and like I got this app called the Bobby Approved app, because like that's how I shop now, because I want to make sure that, you know, what I'm getting has, you know, good ingredients in it. And it's crazy,
Right.
like how, you know, a lot of the stuff that I used to get, you know, when I look at the ingredients, I'm like, dang, like I was eating that. And so when I switched over to like more organically sourced foods, it's crazy like how my bill went up. But, you know, I just had to realize, like, you know, for me, it just depends on like what you really value. So I know, like, even though I may be paying a little bit more in groceries, but you
Right.
really gotta think about the long-term cost. Like, I would rather spend, you know, maybe an extra 10 to $20 on groceries than to end up in a hospital and having to be able to pay more than what's on my grocery bill. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, you're either going to invest in your health or invest in getting better.
Exactly.
Right. But either way, you're going to spend money. You're going to either spend it feeling healthy and strong, or you're going to spend it trying to get well.
Exactly.
So it's going to get spent either way. But I understand what you're saying when you say, yeah, I'm spending more. It's crazy. It's almost like you feel like, man, why are they making it so expensive for us to eat healthy? And I found ways to do it that aren't expensive. When you start eating more vegetables and you start creating meals with vegetables aren't expensive to buy when they're fresh. They're not. And you can get full off eating various vegetables, right? And so you just got to find what works for you and what ingredients works best for you. And as far as your choices in organics and things like that. But you are right. I mean, it's not always the cheapest, but $30 more is going to, if that helps to save your life from developing underlying conditions and things that can happen to you in the future, that's nothing. That's nothing. What do we spend extra $30 on? Coffee, going out. I mean, I don't know, candy, going out and having something that's unhealthy, and we do it all the time.
Right.
So the one thing I've done is I said, okay, well, I'm not going to eat out like I used to. So if I was already spending that money originally eating out, okay, let's say I was spending an extra $30 a week eating out. Well, I'm going to take that extra $30. I'm going to make my own lunch. I'm going to prep my food, and I'm going to buy organics. So I'm not really actually spending extra money, because I just took the money and transferred it somewhere else. That's all I did. Yeah. And it's a smarter way to look at it, so that you're not feeling like you're spending all this extra money, as long as you're sticking to that plan, and you're not buying organics and then turning around and going to Habit Burger and having some big. I mean, it's okay to do that. Don't get it twisted. We're going to go out to eat with our friends, and we're going to sit there and we're going to have to make a choice.
Yeah,
and
that was me yesterday.
Out to eat at a restaurant and making a healthy choice. Okay. Sometimes there's not always the best healthy choices at a restaurant, right? And so you're looking at the menu and you're like, you know, do you got gluten free? You know, that I'm that person. person, do you have gluten-free? You know, and a lot of times they don't. But trying to pick something on a menu that's going to serve some sort of, that's going to not work against you is very hard to do. And sometimes almost impossible depending on where you go. And so I like to pick places that have a menu that I can actually choose from with my friends, where there's a variety, and I'm not just stuck with, you know, eating things that I'm going to end up regretting later, right? Which does happen sometimes, because it's not ever going to be perfect. But as long as you're sticking to making healthy choices when you're shopping at a store, you going and eating something a little unhealthy with your friends, don't feel guilty. Don't feel guilty, because you're enjoying a moment with your friends. And at that point, you know, I mean, you make those choices on what you think you can eat that day. You may kind of regret it the next day, but I mean, that's up to you. Because I'm not going to say don't, and for the rest of your life, you're just going to eat. No, that's not sustainable either. But what is when you stick to those healthy habits, and those times when you have a cheat day, like The Rock, for instance. I love following him. He eats very healthy food, right? But oh man, when he has his cheat days, it teaches me that it's okay to have a moment. So like I saw one time his post was like this huge greasy pizza, right? And he's like, I'm gonna eat all this. But he can do that because he doesn't eat like that all the time. So he ate, the next picture was just no slices left. The whole thing was gone. He ate the whole thing. And I kind of laughed because he didn't have regrets doing that, because he chose to do it. But he's also the same guy who lives a very healthy, active life and makes healthy choices. So it's okay that he did that. Right? So that's why I like to tell people, it's okay that you have that moment where you're out with your friends and you're gonna have that burger. Yeah, you're gonna do it. But in general, on your day-to-day routine, and you're doing the best you can to eat foods that will serve their purpose for you, then you're winning. And you're including active movement in there, because that's really important, to include active movement in the process of that. And I'm not talking about someone saying to me, oh well, I went for a walk. That's great, but I'm going to be real with you. It doesn't qualify as the movement that the body requires in order to get the heart at a certain level. And that is required at least 3 times a week. And I mean, whether you elevate your heart on a bike, or you elevate your heart running, or you elevate your heart pumping weights, whatever you do, it needs to elevate the heart. Because when you elevate the heart, you cycle the blood through, and it's like an engine. What happens when you don't use the engine? It stops. You can't get it to start. You got to jump start it. You know that, right? So if an engine sits, you have to actually go get cables and jump start the engine. And the body's the same way. So if it sits and we're not utilizing it correctly, because the body was actually designed to move, what's going to happen? Your body's going to start shutting down in those areas, and you're going to need a kickstart, right? So that's why it's important to keep the body moving, because we were actually designed to move a lot. But we spend a lot of our time sitting and staring at our screens and not learning about our bodies, or not learning about what to do to keep ourselves from investing in getting better. Instead, investing in being healthy and living a life that is going to prosper us.
Yeah, that's a lot of great stuff right there. A lot of great nuggets. Yeah, like I said, like being healthy is not easy, especially since we're surrounded by a lot of tempting choices. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, it just really comes down to how much you value yourself. And for me, I value myself enough to, really want to live healthy and really feel good, like in terms of my body. Cause you know, I like when I've been on this healthy journey for the past 2 weeks, ever since you got me woke to it, I've noticed like a difference in how my body feels and also my gut, like, cause I'm not like going to the bathroom as much, like I used to every time I would eat like a burger or something. You know what I'm saying? Now my body feels good and I have that energy to be able to continue to go forth throughout my day and not feel sluggish. So really it's just a matter of like how much you really value yourself and your body, which is why I decided to make that switch for real and really just, really put those good foods in my body. Now, again, like we said, like, there's nothing wrong with every now and again, if you want to go to Cane's, you want to go to Chick-fil-A, hey, go ahead. Like yesterday, I went to Slim Chickens, man. Got me 2 cayenne ranch chicken sandwiches because I was with my friends. My friends were like, "Hey, like you want to go out to Slim Chickens?" I said, "All right." I looked at the menu. I knew that what I was gonna get was not gonna be healthy. I had 2 of them boys. That's over 1,000 calories. Over 1,000 calories in one meal for 2 sandwiches. That's crazy. But yet again, like before that, I was eating good. Like I was making sure I was eating, my greens. I had some kale earlier that week. I had some carrots. I had some spinach. You know what I'm saying? So I made sure to get my greens and make sure, like, to really balance that out versus like eating that every day. Now, you will be proud of me, Jennifer, because today, earlier before we got on this podcast, I actually found out. See, if you worried about like trying to go to the store and spending a lot of money on like healthy foods, if you got a farmer's market in your area, that I'm telling you, man, that is a game changer. And I actually found out we got a farmer's market like literally like 2 minutes down the street. And I went to it today and I got a lot of stuff. And I didn't even really spend that much money. I think I maybe spent like maybe like 30, 40, $40. And I was able to get like chicken, like, really farm raised chicken. I wanted to try some burgers too. So I got my meat. So I got 2 meats and I was able to get some kale. I want to try some kale. This one lady put me on to some leafy green stuff. She's like, yeah, like you ever bought that? You ever had this? I'm like, no. She's like, hold on, let me buy it for you. So she bought me some leafy green stuff. Looked like salad. Looked like some salad mix. I'm gonna try it with a salad. And then she also got me some mushrooms. And then I was curious to see how the pizza tastes because they have like some really good farm fresh pizza. So I was like, all right. I got me a whole box of it too. It was probably the best pizza I ever had in my life. Probably the best pizza I've ever had. I'm telling y'all, man, if you got a farmer's market in your area, man, I definitely recommend you hitting that up, man. Cause that's where like you can get a lot of fresh stuff. And I forgot. I got some apples too. And that, man, them apples hit different. I'm gonna
have to try our farmers. We got a lot of farmers markets around. And I've been wanting to go because we have Trader Joe's, which is all organic shopping. I mean, everything is organic. I mean, it's just I love going there. But yeah, no, for real, farmers markets is where it's at. They got everything, and it's at a low cost, and it's all fresh food. So yes, you are absolutely right on that. That is a #1 place to go. And I am so proud of you that you took some amazing steps to start taking yourself down a healthier journey in your eating habits. And you know what's funny is you said you went with your friends. I just was with my friends yesterday eating at Habit Burger, and I had onion rings and a chicken burger. And it was gluten bread because I mean, I would have chose non-gluten if I could, but you know what? I didn't sit there and go, oh, it was more like, you know what? That's okay. Because it's okay to enjoy things with your friends and do that sometimes, but always bring it back to, go back to what keep on track with what you're doing. No one ever said don't enjoy some of the things in life. I mean, if I go on a vacation, best believe I'm going to go on a vacation and eat what I want to eat sometimes. And I'm not going to feel bad about it because I live a healthy lifestyle anyway, so I don't have any regrets or feel like I'm doing something wrong. And that's kind of where people fall off when they want to go on a healthy track, and they're like, yeah, but that means that I'm not going to be able to do this, and this, and then I gotta eat like that all the time, and I'm not going to be able to, and that's not what it means. You got to find a good, happy medium of how you're going to do it and incorporate it into your life. And you did that. And that's awesome.
Yep. Yeah, no, it was, like I said, like, it's just crazy. Like, just going back to my, adventure at the farmer's market earlier today, me and the lady I was with, we had a bite of that pizza, and she said something. She's like, man, this is what you live for right here. Food like this, you know what I'm saying? Because so good, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just so good. Like,
yeah.
There's a difference, like, with how it tastes. It's just so fresh. Like the dude that I got the kale from, he was like, yeah, man, I actually, picked this out this morning, man. I was like, oh, yeah. You know what I'm saying? So it's crazy. Like, it just gives me a side, man, because, I wish more people could, like, understand, like, it's a difference. Like, it's a difference between quality, man, with the quality of food that you get. So I'm telling y'all, man, if you got farmers market in your area, check it out, man. Like I said, man. So yeah.
So you know what you're turning into now, right?
What's that?
It's called a food snob.
Oh, yeah. You know what? My roommate, I got a roommate who be like I said, he be coming for me because, like, he tends to eat more, like, he eats, like, fast food and other stuff. Like, he's not picky. And it's funny, like, how nowadays, like, when I tell people, like, yeah, I don't eat fast food, like, I don't eat this, I don't eat that, they're like, bro, like, you picky. But it's like, no, I'm not picky, I'm particular. You know what I'm saying? I'm not picky, I'm particular, because I know what's in it and I don't want to eat it.
Yeah.
So once you really research some of these foods, man, like I said, like, to some people, you'll be like, they'll think you picky, but you're just really just particular because now that you've done your research, like, what's in these foods, and you don't want to, constantly be putting that in your body. So for me, like, a couple documentaries that I watched that really, kind of woke me up a little bit, and I'll recommend them to y'all. I recommend, like, if you're really curious about trying to know more about foods and stuff like that, here are 3 documentaries I watched. And you may have seen them. I don't know if you ever seen them, but I'm gonna tell you what, this will blow your mind for real. So one documentary I saw was Fat Fiction. That's a pretty good one. Another one is Fed Up. And then the last one is Food Incorporated. And they're all free. Like, you can watch those, like, on YouTube. They're free. Yeah. So if you watch, like, any of those, so again, Fat Fiction, Fed Up, and Food Incorporated, you watch any of those 3 documentaries, it'll blow your mind. It will basically make you look at food in a different way. Like, you will not look at food the same.
I watched Food Incorporated. I also watched one that it's why I don't really eat red meat at all. It was a documentary on how they process the beef and what they do to the animals, and these animals go through. And I had no idea what they were doing to these animals, and I didn't know they were being raised up like in feed of their own feces, and there was so much that I was learning from it, and it was so disturbing. And then I found out how cows actually they are very emotional. They're like dogs. They have memories. They cry for their babies. They know when they're getting ready to be slaughtered. I mean, it's just, and I watched those, and I'm just like, oh my God, like, why do we do this? Like, do we have to eat this red meat? Like, who made this up? Like, if our bodies weren't really meant to really eat it, well, then why are we doing it? And why are these poor cows having to suffer? So that's just for me. You know what I mean? Those things run through my mind. And because I'm an animal lover, it was really hard pill for me to swallow, just to see the reality of what happens before it goes to the market. And while eating red meat is not bad, in a sense for most people. It's just not it's not really done humanely. You know, there are humane ways they do it, you know, in organic places where they're grass fed and they have a good life and they make sure that it's done humanely. And then you've got most of the commercial places where it's not. And these cows are actually injected with chemicals, and the government actually runs the farm. So they actually, they provide the funds to the farmers that are not organic. And then they have people that actually come out and inject the cows. Well, like, what are you injecting them with? Like, why are you coming out? And I learned this from an actual farmer who talked about how they would come out and inject these cows. They were never told what was in it, but it was a part of something they had to allow them to do because they were being funded by the government. And it's like, what are you injecting them with? Why? Like, what's in it? You know? And so we're eating that, right? So if you're going to eat red meat, you know, eat the organic stuff.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about earlier. Make sure, like, I learned a trick from my boy Bobby Parrish, man. He said, if you're going to eat meat, you know, such as burger or steak or anything like that, usually he recommends organic, grass-fed, grass-finished. Because really, if you think about cows, they're supposed to eat grass. Like, a lot of them now are put on grain-fed diets, which is not good.
And corn.
So, exactly. They ain't supposed to eat that.
No, but that's all they
grass
do because they're trying to fatten them up to get them beefier. And so, yes, it needs, so you have to make sure when you read the label, it says or 100% organic grass fed. If it says graze, no, because you got to really read the label because sometimes it'll say organic, but it won't say grass fed. Right. Yeah. So it trick you. So you just got to make sure you're really reading it and understanding what they're telling you because they have to tell you on the packaging. And that's really important. So he's right. Absolutely.
Yeah. That's why I watch him, man. Like he also, like, you know, like I said, like sparked my curiosity about food, man. Like I said, like if you really want to shop smartly, I recommend go check him out. Bobby Parrish on YouTube, man. Dude got over 3 million subscribers. So dude actually popping. Like he shops at stores like Trader Joe's and Whole Foods and stuff like that. So really he's fortunate to have like access to those stores, but even he'll do videos like at Walmart because that's common in most neighborhoods, like Walmart. You know, you got Costco, you got like, you know, Target, you know, like stores like that. Right. Like where if you're not able to go to a Whole Foods, because I know like for me, Whole Foods is like 20 some miles away. That's way out my way. I ain't going all the way out there just to go shopping. But you know, I got like a Meijer, I got a Walmart, obviously within 5 minutes down the street. So there's still like, you know, good organically sourced products in your like local stores, but you just gotta know what you're looking for. And they're not easy to find, which is another thing I realized. It's not easy to find. It's like in a little section, like the grass-fed meat. Like when I was looking to find a grass-fed meat, it was like this big, like it was only like this big, but then you had a whole like big section of like chicken and steak. But when you want the good stuff, you gotta find it. And it'll take you a little longer, but it's worth it though.
Yeah, I'm glad you were able to find a way around it. You know, I'm fortunately blessed to be literally, I think 2 minutes from Trader Joe's.
Oh, so you live in a nice area then. If you got a Trader Joe's or a Whole Foods by you, yeah, you live in a nice area.
I have Trader Joe's, and then I got Fred Meyer, which is one of the largest stores that sells nothing but organics. They have it's got all the other stuff, but they've got a large source of organics, and they have a whole meat section of organic. So I've got a lot of options around me. Plus, we are around a lot of farms, so there's a lot of options. But for people who don't have all of those options, you have to find your way around that, and then just like you said, know what you're looking for, And you're doing your research. So the one thing I really commend you on, you're doing your research, you're understanding what it is you need to get and what it is you don't want to buy. You're starting to realize what that is and what that looks like for you. And then you are developing your own way. And that is awesome. That's really what it's all about. That's really what it's all about. That is it right there. And you are actually emulating that very, very well. And I am so like just amazed by how far you've come from the last time that we've talked. Like I had no idea that me bringing up seasoning and stuff was going to trigger you to go on this journey. But as you can see how we can, people watch. Whether we know it or not, they are all watching. So even your friends who are talking about you, I'm going to laugh when you tell me one of them has gone down that road with you. And you take them shopping with you and you tell them to watch these videos and you start talking to them about why you're doing what you're doing and you're telling them what you're going through. And they realize what you're saying makes so much sense and they start questioning what they're eating. And that's how you create a better world, is just one person at a time. And we start to kind of, it trickles off and we start to teach each other, but it just all starts with one person and the people around you are watching.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that's like I said, man. It's a whole man. I'm at loss for words for it. Like just knowing like that conversation we had last time, like knowing like I literally cleared out like all the stuff that I used to buy, and now it's like the pantry looks different. Like on my end, now I still got roommates who still buy the regular stuff, but if you look at like what I buy, like you'll see a lot of organic stuff in there. But like I said, like sometimes it just takes that one person to really like get you curious. And I think our conversation we had last time, you got me curious. Cause you was coming at me. I ain't gonna lie. Like you was like, when I remember like when I told you I eat like regular salt, you're like, what are you trying to do? You trying to take yourself out? I was like, no. I was like, well, what? I was like, what you mean? Like, she's like, that's why I was like, wait a minute, like, let me do my research there. And you were like, and then when you talked about pepper, I remember that, like salt and pepper, like, I was like, yeah, I just get the regular pepper. She's like, you're like, that has bugs in it though. I was like, does it really? You know what I'm saying? Does it really have bugs in it? And that's when I was like, okay, let me research. And I was like, oh, well, let me get some organic, but you know what I'm saying? But I think it was good though, because like I said, like I think it was good how you massaged the idea of eating organic foods, because like I said, like I probably wouldn't have gone down that path if you didn't massage that idea in my mind. So now that you've got me hip to it, now I want to get others hip to it as well, because this is the way to go. Like that lady said, this is what life's supposed to be like. We're supposed to eat good food. Like that's a basic human right. You have the right to eat good food. You know what I'm saying?
There it is. No, and I'd love to see you try the cleanse. I'd love to see you talk about that maybe the next time that we talk, and maybe what you went. So yeah, I mean, if you're ever interested in doing the cleanse with the gut protocol, or you go off on your own cleanse, I can send you a link to get on the program, or you can just start your own. Like I said, you can grab this on Amazon right here, and you can start your cleanse and just, start weeding out some of those things that I had talked about with you, and start your own cleanse and adding in, whatever movements you got, and getting those movements added in. And also remember, the gut does not process when it's under stress. So make sure you're eating when you're not stressed out. So always be mindful when you're eating, and remember who you are being when you're eating. So right before you eat, you just take a deep breath, and whatever's going through your mind that might be stressing you out, wipe that out and then eat, because the body will literally stop digesting if you are stressed out. And I like to tell people that, because a lot of people will eat under stress, and what they don't realize is that the body's like, nope, you're stressed out and I'm not doing nothing until you calm down. Okay, you need to calm down, and then I will process the food. But I'm not processing nothing while you're like that.
Yeah.
So I tell people, just make sure you're mindful who you're being when you eat, who are you being when you eat? Are you stressed out? Or are you calm? Are you enjoying your food? Or are you just kind of eating and going with the motion? And that's really important to do, and to slow your eating down and enjoy it, because it's an experience. It's not something that you just shovel in your mouth. You make it an experience that's good for you. Present your food the way you want to see it. Like when I make my food, I put it on a nice plate. I try to present it. Like when I eat a good meal at night, I make a presented plate and I take a picture of it and I make it look pretty. And then I got my little glass with my ice water or whatever. And I make it a little presentation before myself so that I can enjoy that moment and feel relaxed while I'm eating.
Another thing is like, that's good. Like, that's good that you do that. And, you know, with another thing is like with eating like really good foods, one thing I've also noticed is how I'm not always hungry. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, you know, when you eat, like, that's another advantage of eating good is like, you're not always going to be hungry. Like, you won't have that constant need to keep snacking. It's because that food will continue to, because the food like that you eat, you want to eat the food that has like, that's really high in nutrients, because those nutrients will, you know, allow it to be able to process in the body, which will allow it to be able to feel full, like when it needs to be full. You know what I'm saying?
You are so right about that. And it is so true, as you're giving your body the nutrients that it, so it's not saying, oh, I'm not missing anything because you gave me what I needed, so I'm not really hungry. A lot of times people don't realize also that hunger stems from thirst. And we're supposed to be drinking. And if you do a cleanse, you need to make sure you are drinking at least, I want to say it's 90% of your body weight. So I walk around with this. This goes with me everywhere I go. Start drinking a lot. Start drinking your water, but make sure you take it wherever you go. So you're constantly drinking your water and making sure you're including keeping yourself hydrated all the time, so that you can start seeing the benefits of the cleanse at the same time. But you are absolutely right. Eating the right foods does definitely keep you from having those hunger moments, or those moments where you're craving. And cravings do come from your body not getting what it needs. That's where those cravings come from. It's not that you want sugar. It's because your body didn't get what it needed. So now it wants sugar because that's what it's used to going to, because you taught it to do that. You trained it that way. And so now what you're doing is you are training your body to do it the other way, to do it the right way. You're retraining your body and your brain.
Definitely, man. Yeah. See, told y'all, man. Yeah, I'm a whole new dude, man. Like I said, this is part of disinfect your life. Disinfect your life, man. Trying to eat well, you know, maintain that healthy lifestyle. That's what I'm about, man. Like I said, there's a whole new person you talking to right now, man. And that's great that I was able to get you on and be able to go more in depth about it, man. Because like I said, like, it's crazy, like what a month can do. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, man, I thought we had a really great episode today, y'all, man. If you want to follow my girl Jennifer on Instagram at Coach Hizon 77. So again, at COACHHIZON 77. Follow her on IG. You can keep up with her and everything that she got going on. If you got questions, hit her up.
Yes.
Like I said, if you have questions about eating good, you know, what would be good for me? Like, what food should I be eating? Hey, listen, hey, she seemed like she the expert. So definitely hit her up, man. Give her a follow on Instagram. Like I said, man, she got a lot of great things going on. I'll make sure to put the link in the description so you can have access to it when this episode comes out. And also, of course, follow me on Instagram at Disinfecting Your Life. That's no spaces, no capitals. Once again, follow me on Instagram at Disinfecting Your Life. No spaces, no capitals. Keep up with all latest and greatest. And if you got feedback, man, let me know, man. Like, let me know, you know, how you feel about the shows. You know, give me some feedback, man. I'm always down for it. Always willing to make these shows better. Bring some phenomenal guests on, such as Jennifer right here. She got a lot of great nuggets, man. And like I said, bro, this ain't gonna be the last time that we'll probably have her on because she does a phenomenal job, goes into really good depth. So maybe we'll come out with a part 2, or we might come at you with something completely different. You never know. You know what I'm saying? You never know with her. So I'm looking forward to, most likely having her back on and, being able to, have more of an educational type episode to where we're informing y'all and trying to help y'all live that disinfecting your lifestyle. You know what I'm saying? But nonetheless, man, I'm gonna go ahead and close the show out. It's your boy Chris Simmons, alongside special guest Jennifer Hizon. We out, y'all. Take care. Peace.
Bye.